Well, for a long time now, it's been believed that the best way to improve your running performance for distance is to go out there and absolutely smack your heart rate up as high as you possibly can and hold that for as long as you possibly can. But the beauty with constant, consistent research taking place is that recently there's been a little challenge to that commonly held belief. And today, that's exactly what I want to look at. Hey, before we get into it, just wanted to let you know we've got videos coming out here every single week, both a Relax Running podcast and also a video. So if you're not already a subscriber and you're interested in getting access to some of the best minds, some of the best information on how you can take your running performance to the next level, make sure you hit subscribe. All right, the first thing we want to talk about is base building or aerobic conditioning. Now, obviously, we've looked at athletes on this channel like Eliud Kipchoge who use 85% of their training load to go out and run at a relatively slow pace based on the pace that they would usually run at or can run at their maximum. But one of the misbeliefs that so many of us have is that in order to run better, we have to run faster. The problem with that approach is that a constantly and consistently faster approach to every single training run doesn't leave much room for recovery, doesn't leave much room for rest, doesn't leave much room for our body to have the opportunity to absorb the work that we're putting into it. So if you're interested in developing consistency, which you should be as a distance runner, because running has a reputation for rewarding the most consistent, then this is an idea for you. Rather than going out every single day and using it as an opportunity just to absolutely push your body to the limits, start running at a relatively slow pace for a majority of your runs. Section off a couple of sessions each week where you're going to go really hard, but the other ones is an opportunity just to keep building that strength, that consistency, the aerobic capacity, and that doesn't require your heart to be working near its max. As a direct follow-up from the first point, you want to focus on long, slow distance. What is long, slow distance? Well, it's exactly what it sounds like. At least once a week, you should be going out there at a conversational pace and be running longer than what you're running on any other day of the week. Now, depending on what it is that you're training for is going to dictate how far this run should be. A lot of marathon runners might get up to around 30 kilometers or 18 miles, but depending on what it is that you're training for or where you are in your running training program or progress, it's going to dictate how far it is that you should run. Now, what's the beauty of a long, slow distance run? Well, one of the fundamental elements, as I just touched on, is the consistency and the strength that is required to build consistency into your running training. Not only are you ticking off those two elements of your running progress, you're also developing your aerobic capacity or your ability to be able to pass oxygen around your body effectively as you're running for longer distances. All right, number 3, I want to talk just for a moment about interval training. Before you go away, I know interval training, it's a faster, more intense effort during your week. It's an opportunity to really build that heart rate, to work hard. But why am I mentioning this in a video that we're focused on running at a long, slow distance with a relatively low heart rate? Well, one of the fundamental elements of you being able to run at a lower heart rate is from time to time challenging your heart to pump blood through your body at a higher rate, at a level which is not usually required in your training routine. The reason for this is if we can have 1 or 2 of these training sessions each week, then naturally our body's going to adapt, our heart's going to adapt to the requirements that we're putting on it. And all of a sudden, when we go out for a longer, slower distance run, the pressure that is on our heart to distribute that blood throughout our body isn't as intense. So counterintuitively, one of the most effective ways in the long term for you to be able to run with a lower heart rate is from time to time, really lift it up. Number 4, I want to talk about strength training and cross training. Now, the reason we want to speak about this when it comes to distance running is because strength is an underrated element of your distance running routine. But why? Again, like interval training, why mention it in this particular video? Well, the reason I am mentioning it here is because strength is something which is directly correlated to running efficiency. Now, if you're doing some strength training and some technique work, one of the most fundamental changes that you'll see in your running is the efficiency that you move through the motions with. The idea with running is to be able to run at the fastest pace possible for the longest amount of time. And if you can work on your efficiency and your strength, the body's ease to be able to work through these particular activities is going to be greatly enhanced. So if you haven't been doing any strength training or any technique work, I really encourage you to do that. One of the things that I do on a regular basis with a number of athletes that I coach is not just distribute the training programs, but also make sure I'm getting some updates on how they're moving when they're out there running. Because it's okay to go out and put in all the work, but if you're doing it in an inefficient way, then obviously we're not only wasting energy, but we're not getting the maximum ability for our body out of that session, and we're limiting our ability to be able to recover from what shouldn't be such an intense session. All right, and finally, we've got to make sure we're well hydrated going into a training session. Not only does hydration allow us to feel good when we're out there running, it also helps us maintain an optimal blood volume, regulate body temperature, and also support cardiovascular function. Now, obviously, with so many people watching these videos, it's going to be so variable as to what it is that you're training for. And that's why I wanted to let you know we've got a number of coaching opportunities that we can help you with if you're interested over at Relax Running. First of all, you're interested in personal one-on-one coaching. We've got 3 different options depending on what it is that you're looking for in a coach. If you need some guidance with your running, make sure you reach out. Don't guess your way through. If you're training for a marathon, great news. We have just released our marathon method training program, which I've linked below with a coupon code. Now, if you're training for a marathon or you'd like an interactive training guide, the Marathon Method has our own 16-week training program, which is adaptable to you as a runner. You get a support chat with me to make sure you're not guessing your way through that training. But more than that, you get access to a number of our carefully selected resources from all over the internet that have been the most beneficial to both the coaches at Relax Running and the athletes that we work with. So if you're interested in any of those, make sure you hit the links in the description below. Anything else, jump over to Relax Running. Guys, any questions I haven't answered, make sure you leave them in the comments below. Like it if it was helpful, subscribe if you're interested, and I'll see you all here again next week.